Hello, I'm Ian, and welcome to Somerset News Network. This video is called The House of Lords. It's a revising chamber. Now, the Commons and Lords used to sit together in Westminster Hall. That's the old Parliament. And they built the new Parliament and split the Commons and the Lords up. The Commons is the elected officials that we have in our constituencies, our MPs. The leading party then elects a leader, which becomes the Prime Minister. In the past, the Prime Minister could have been a member of the House of Lords. During the time of the American Civil War and before, William Pitt was Prime Minister, was in the Commons. He was ill and couldn't work. So Lord North, who was in the House of Lords, took over. They put taxes on the Americans. They taxed them for cotton, tobacco, sugar, molasses. They even charged America a barracks tax for housing our own troops. That's where you got the idea of no taxation without representation. Well, the House of Lords, I studied the House of Lords in my history exam at school. And the House of Lords in the 70s, this is late 60s, early 70s, I suppose, 69, 70, when I did it. Yeah, I know, a long time ago. The House of Lords was made up of the hereditary peers. The heads of the leading clerical, so that was the senior bishops and the Archbishop of Canterbury. You also had the leading military figures that became members of the House of Lords. It's a cross thing. But what happened? What happened? In 1911, we had a Liberal government. And there was 2 elections in 1911. The Liberal government were trying to put a budget through, and the House of Lords rejected it. After the second election, the Liberal Party filled the House of Lords with life peers. And it was called the Parliament Act. Also stopped the House of Lords rejecting what they called a money bill, the budget. So the Lords cannot reject a money bill. And that's what's happening now. Successive Conservative and Labour governments have filled the House of Lords with life peers. Some people call them yes men. Of course, some of them are women, but you know what I mean. Now, question is life peers still a relevant piece or system to have? Should there be a limit on the number of life peers that there can be? Now, what they've done, when Tony Blair was in, he reduced the number of hereditary peers. Although it's part of our constitution, like we've got a monarchy, the hereditary peers were cut down to about, I think it was 75 or something like that. And they elect a group of members of the House of Lords between themselves. Now, I think that was unconstitutional. Because our Constitution goes back to the Bill of Rights. And there's historical things before that. I think what is wrong is the life peers. There's too many of them. There should be a structure to limit the number of life peers. And some sort of guideline of how you qualify to be a life peer. We're now finding that the Labour Party are putting socialist campaigners up as members of the House of Lords. Is this right? They might hold some good knowledge that the Lord's needs. But you can't just keep adding life peers all the time. All the time they're putting life peers in. Now, yesterday, the ex-chief of staff of Starmer was elevated to the House of Lords as a life peer. Not Sweeney, because Sweeney went this week. This was before. He was elevated to the House of Lords as a life peer. Now, the news yesterday was that he has refused to take the Labour whip, become a member of the House of Lords as a member of the Labour Party. This morning, the news out on the headlines that are read up is the ex-chief of staff of Starmer has lost the Labour whip. Well, if he's never had it, because he's refused to take it, how can he lose it? This is what's called spin. And that's just pure PR spin. To make it look like Starmer's in charge and he's taking the whip from him. Even though the guy said yesterday, I'm not taking the whip. Nigel Farage wants to reform the House of Lords. I'm not quite sure what he wants to do. He was at one stage talking about an elected chamber. Well, that would then reduce the numbers and we would have a say. My argument is you cannot remove the life peers from the House of House of Lords. That is our constitution. Might not be the best, as Winston Churchill said, we might not have the best system, but it's the best system we got. I think the number of life peers should be added to. I think they should have more, maybe 150. Then you say, right, how many life peers should there be? Maybe double that, 300 maybe. Now, if somebody decides to be a life peer and gets elevated, that's fair enough. But you can't have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. I don't know how many life peers there are. I don't know if anybody knows how many life peers there really are. Now, it all goes back to 1911 and the Parliament Act. And then there was a second Parliament Act in 1949, after the Second World War. Now, we've got to also look at the Parliament Act and life peers. Do we think that we need life peers? Because they're normally, MP loses his seat, he's been an MP for 3 or 4 terms, he goes straight into the House of Lords. Some ministers, prime ministers, they all go up to the House of Lords. Tony Blair hasn't been made a Lord yet. Now, Cameron who was an ex-Prime Minister, became a member of the House of Lords, ended up being the Foreign Secretary. Well, our Constitution allows that. But personally, I think the ministers and the cabinet should be elected representatives. It's my feeling. But I think the number of hereditary peers should not be removed. I think they should be doubled to 150. And I think the number of life peers should be reduced. And people that are made peers need to be basically non-political, to scrutinise the government, to speak for us. I found it very hard when I was lobbying members of the House of Lords, because they said, we don't represent you. We represent the people. And I thought that was strange. They don't represent us, but they do represent the people. That's what a member of the House of Lords told me. We were lobbying. And we had a meeting with a number of members of the House of Lords. They were as friendly as anything. We explained our situation. We explained what we wanted. And all five all life peers all agreed with us. Our logic was sound. What we were asking for was right and just. Then it came to the vote. We reckon they were nobbled. We reckon the whips had something on them. And these lords were Conservative, Labour and Liberal, by the way. But they were trying to help us. When they went in, they all voted against us. They were nobbled. You see, they got whips in the House of Lords as well. And they got a little black book. And if you've been a naughty boy, they got it written in a little black book. Here, if you don't vote right, my boy, we'll let this information out. That's the way they do it. They blackmail them, basically, twisting their arms behind their backs. So, yes, the House of Lords needs reforming. In my view, it should be reducing the number of life peers, and that the criteria of becoming a life peer should be looked into. Because you've retired as an MP or lost your seat as an MP, if you've lost your seat as an MP, the people have rejected you, why should you then be allowed to sit in the House of Lords? Now, do you think the hereditary peer should stay, full stop? That's part of our Constitution. Should not be able to get rid of that. But now we talk about life peers. You've got the ecclesiastical, the bishops, as members of the House of Lords. That is on the position. So it's the Bishop of York, Archbishop of Canterbury, Bath and Wells, the senior bishops. That stays. So if they get the job, they become a member of the House of Lords. That's already settled. And the same with the military. The top military, the top brass, are also elevated to the House of Lords. I think, my opinion, is that life peers should be voted on. We should have a say on it. Now, senior cabinet ministers, now we're talking chancellors, foreign secretaries, environment secretary, and prime ministers, they, like the military and the bishops, could be put as life peers into the House of Lords. But when it comes to the lower ranks of the members of the House of Lords, why can't we vote on them? It's going to cause all sorts of confusion, because members of the House of Lords that are voted for and get a big majority from us are going to hold more weight than just being an ordinary member of the House of Lords. They're going to say, I've got a mandate. I'm duly elected. And that's going to cause problems. So we need to look. We can't look at life peers. That's part of our constitution. That's it. It might not be the best system, but it's a system we got. We will add to that. The socialists don't want life peers, hereditary peers anyway. But it's our system. So we extend the hereditary peers to 150. We then look at life peers, and then we see how many of them should be elected, so that we get a say. Only my theory, and I put it out there for consultation, but I don't think we should just scrap the House of Lords as it is and have an elected chamber. That will cause too much trouble. The Constitution is a balance of the old and the new. And to maintain that balance, that's why we have the Crown and the hereditary peers. Anyway, Ian, Somerset News Network, signing off for now. Bye bye.